Hey there, Chad here. Thanks for joining me. Let's play some Rising Star 2. Now, it has actually been a while since I have been in this game. I had recorded several of these episodes ahead of time, and then there was an update that caused some problems. You couldn't move past Saturday. So there was a couple of weeks that I wasn't playing at all because I couldn't advance past Saturday. And it got fixed really quick. I didn't get the download right away. That was on me. And I had some other technical issues that were going on that kind of slowed me down. So I'm kind of getting my legs back about me here with what we were doing with everybody but Andy. As I recall, we had a bunch of battles, and I think we have a few more lined up. It probably is nighttime here right now. Yep. So we just finished one of those, and then we've got a couple the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, it's a matter of putting some songs together. I see we've recorded a few things. I don't know if we did release a single. Okay, if that's good. And then we'll want to start firing up and seeing about maybe getting a manager and getting some exposure with a record label, I guess, will be coming up next. Now, we're not actually very good. We need a lot of experience yet, and some of that is my stage presence. It is pretty bad, and so we're not scoring real well with our songs. Playing is doing fairly well. We bumped that up pretty quickly through busking early in the game, and then I've been kind of splitting my time amongst various pieces here as we've gone forward. Just looking over things here to make sure nothing is completely out of the ordinary, and it looks like we're good. We could probably change one of his songs here. Want to make sure I know what everybody else is looking at doing. So we have depression, loss, and technology are good. Vitality, life, and nature, not so good. And then technology is local to us. So technology is otherwise negative is what this is telling me nationwide. So we'll probably want to avoid changing somebody to technology, but we can change him from vitality to, why don't we go with life? That tends to be a decent one. Oh, that's down too. I wasn't paying attention. That was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. It'll go away eventually, and he'll be able to use his talents for songwriting of lyrics soon enough. So let's go and see if we need anything practiced. We not really wouldn't hurt to go ahead and hit everything once and give us a few days to see about getting a song up to speed. We have friends asking us if we want to play a gig with them. This will be here in St. Louis on Friday. Yeah, we should be able to do that. Not this Friday. It's a couple of Fridays out. Let's go ahead and take that. We'll grab that. We did just go overnight, so let's go. Oh, another one. One the following day. It doesn't pay anything. It's at Jerome's Bar. It'll be good exposure for us. We'll go ahead and do that too. Let's see what we can figure out in the meantime. Let's go and find a manager that makes sense for our band right now, if there is one here in town. Sometimes it's difficult to find somebody that really matches up well. And the things to consider for matching up is their reputation. He is very reputable. He's going to charge a lot of money, and we have to pay him a considerable amount of what we book through him. So he's probably not appropriate for our band right now. So we're going to move on to the next guy. And there's a couple here on this block up here. So we'll check those out. I usually change the name of these guys to somebody that I know. He's even more. That's interesting. A lot of times I'm running into them where they're twos or threes. And when you're a brand new band, that's great. How about Kelvin here? Kelvin's a 9. You know what? We're going to go with Kelvin. We're going to hire Kelvin. And what can we have Kelvin do? We could have him book us local tours. We can have him book an actual tour where he lines up several cities. That's a lot of fun. We can have him find a recording contract for us. That's really what we're going to want to do, but I think it's just a little premature just yet. And we can also have them get product endorsements where we get paid for using specific products during our shows. For now, let's do book local gigs and see what that'll do for us. So he will book within 250 miles of St. Louis for anything that has 50 or more capacity. And we can change this. Let's make it 80. And let's go ahead and make it 300 miles, which is the maximum. And there we go. So he'll reach out to Chicago, Kansas City. He'll be able to book stuff. And he will gain levels as we move along. Currently, his satisfaction is 20. We'll see that go up. We're going to go ahead and leave his name alone. I like Kelvin Kitchens. That sounds fun. And let's see. What else do we want to do? Well, I'm thinking that we're still in our first year. So the opportunity to busk when we get triple experience is still not a horrible thing. So let's look into doing that. Well, we have to mow in order to make that happen though, right? Okay. Probably should check on the condition of some of our equipment. There's some nice places to play here. We'll go to this discount store here. Got to stop first, of course. And how bad is it? Well, we're in pretty good shape, actually. We don't have anything that's completely wrecked. So we're going to let that go for now. And let's go ahead. I always look for strings. Look at that. Stage presence +5. That is fantastic. And we're going to buy a whole lot of those for exactly that reason. Like 20, which will be $1,000 worth of strings, but you know what? It'll be worth it in the long run. I do usually take a look at like guitars just in case there's something out there that's kind of special. Not really seeing anything there. You don't have to go through every last one. Usually when I'm looking for something new, I'll start at the most expensive and work my way down to what I feel like I can afford. $3,000 right now, that's a little too much, but I might be willing to spend, I don't know, 800. Look at that. That's pretty good. Playing +2, that would be good. Playing +1, writing +4. These are some really decent stats. That's a good one. Playing +5. Well, that one's hard to pass up. We're going to take that. And then we're going to go look at Kiwi. See if she can get anything at a reasonable price. Nothing helps her there. We could look at her keyboard, I suppose. Wouldn't be the worst thing. Now, because she has less stuff to buy, she doesn't have consumables, a lot of times I'll spend more on what the keyboardist gets because they don't have as many gadgets to hold on to. None of these are screaming at me right now. And again, I'm not going to go that high, but we could start at maybe 800. Playing, writing, playing. Now, she is our songwriter. So that could be important. And stage presence is always important. That was 100% of an item, so that's good. Let's look at drumsticks. It seems to me drumsticks are the ones that have very few bonuses, just ever. And how's he doing on them? He's okay, not fantastic. We could probably stand to buy something with some sort of bonus. A few of those. That'll get it done. Drum heads, we also go through those. Nothing worth mentioning. His drum heads are about done though. So, well, he's got several of these, so we're okay there. Cymbals. When you find the right cymbals, you'll be happy. Stage presence +6. That's pretty fantastic. I'm thinking I don't want to spend that just yet though. Okay, so we're going to pass on that, and then we'll look at guitar strings for Angel here. Stage presence +1. We'll go ahead and grab a few of those. And I think that'll do it for us for today. Let's go and see how we're looking for songs and merging stuff. So we're going to go write a song, merge, and wow, we have some relatively low-level things here. And some not so low-level. There we go. Okay. Moving right along. We're down to where we can only match ones. And there's one more. Okay. From a song perspective, we don't have anything to practice, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to write something new. Who is a paste? Yeah. Let's do who is Jessica? We'll make it medium and let's see what we can come up with. Let's start with this 20. With Kiwi being our normal songwriter, maybe we should start with her, but our main songwriter, I should say. She will have better quality parts. And ultimately, you want everybody to participate. Eventually, you can win awards with each different performer in your group, and that's always fun. Angel tends to be my lyric writer, and she will have tons of 35s eventually as we continue to move forward here. Let's go with Hometown Pride. That's not so bad. And then rhythm, we're just trying to get it done here, really. Let's go with a 9 from Kiwi. There we go. All right, we're going to write that one. And there it is. Back to writing and merging. Plenty of things to merge still. Now, I've talked about this before, but I tend to merge from the higher number to keep it. But this early on, that's not super important. I think it's more important to just make sure you have a good balance. You can have your your technical, your difficulty too high to be able to fully play the song 100%. And that is something you want to be careful of. Now, on the other hand, when you're trying to win awards, the songs need to be difficult. So it's that knife edge that you walk. I'm trying to decide how much of which you want in order to pursue the game that you want to play. I'm early enough in this that I'm not paying huge attention to which ones are matching with what, and I'm out of numbers there, so I can't do that one. So I'm not just doing it randomly. If there's a big disparity between the numbers, I'll usually go with the bigger number almost always. All right, let's do a Carefree song from Angel, and let's see what we can get. Down here, we can get a 20. We might be able to get to like an 80 here if we're careful. Maybe not. Well, there's a 15 though. And there's a 15. 70. I'll take a 70. We'll make this high energy. Everyone foresees someday. Let's just change it to someday. Isn't that a Sugar Ray song? All right. Now we've written 2 songs. Let's go ahead and do some practice. I cannot remember where we are in our abilities as far as how much we can practice, how much gain we will get for each practice. So we're going to find that out right now. We're at 28. She's 56. And here, Calvin has been booking some local gigs for us. We get to pick from them. It is not a good idea to turn him down outright. His satisfaction will suffer, and eventually he'll fire you if you're not careful. So try to at least select one thing that he offers. Sometimes they only offer one though, and if it's no good, well, that's where you land, I guess. But we're going to take this. That's a pretty good gig for us. 9 songs, 2,400. Man, these are really good. We should have hired a manager earlier, right? And we're also playing in theaters, you'll notice. That'll be kind of fun. We're not going to be very good yet, but we're working on it. We're working on it. And these will help with an experience. Now, this one I think I'm going to go ahead and turn down. And that should be okay. He won't be really upset about that. This one's here in St. Louis. We could really build that on our own if we wanted to. But it's been a while since we've played there. Let's go ahead and take it. Man, we are just getting booked up, aren't we? Champaign-Urbana. Yeah, we'll take that one too. I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on that. I'm probably going to pass on most of the rest of them at this point. I don't want to get too far out in the future because we don't know what the month is going to bring when it changes over, and that can be problematic. But I'm also not going to pass up playing in a stadium or theater. Pass on that, pass on that. The Young Dog in Clarksville, Tennessee. Well, we haven't played down there yet, I don't think, so we'll take that one. Okay, now here's the other thing. He's just booked us all of those. That's a good sampling of dates for us. I want to tell him to stop doing that now, so I need to come back in here and turn that off. I can go to do nothing, and he'll do nothing for a while. You'll notice his satisfaction went up. I think we started at 20, and it's at 32 now, so he likes us. His reputation hasn't gotten higher, but he probably did progress here. I didn't pay really close attention there. We can ask him to do some other things. And you know what? Asking for a record contract maybe isn't the worst thing. Let's see what he can find for us. We will start with a very bad contract is what it comes down to. There's not a whole lot we can do about that. It's going to be based on our ability. But if we have one, there's some perks to that, like getting your album paid for and things like that. Okay. What do we want to do? We probably want to practice more songs. We should probably do some merging. Back to merging these ones. There we go. Couple of 2s. Here's some 15s for Kiwi. And that's too many points. You know, we've only got 29 points left. So we need to work on our playing. This will max out at 100. You'll be able to do up to 100 points in a day. And as you can see, you burn through them really fast with those larger pieces. So we're going to go ahead and just go practice. So we get 28 per run. So it takes us 4 days to learn a song right now, really. Would take less if we only did one song. This is a pretty good breakdown. You eventually can get to where you can do 35. The maximum you can do for any particular song in one day is 35. So once you're up to 100, you're seeing where you can learn 3 songs in 3 days is what it really comes down to. All right. That just happened. We can do a little bit more merging. And I often will go top and then bottom just to kind of make sure I'm hitting all the parts and trying to equally balance out where my strengths and weaknesses are in my, what do we want to call these? Ideas. Yeah, they're called ideas. That's a lot of Topher. Let's move up here. Oh, we're down to 3 points. So that's not going to happen, but we can do this. There it is. And that's it. We're out of points. Let's practice a little more. Now we practiced all of our songs on Sunday. We should be good for another day or two. So really, I could just go ahead and let these go one more time, learn them, and we can play them tomorrow and see how well they do. And I think that's what we want to do. We'll do one more day's worth of merging. Let's do lyrics this time. And Angel's lyrics are always, I mean, she's just going to have lyrics like crazy. Eventually, we'll have like 10 or 15 35s lined up for her with lyrics, but it takes a while to get there because of how much it costs to do each one. So that is something to keep in mind. We need to do 3s now. That's the most we can do. And there we go. Okay. We're out of points. Last time practicing these, and these should all stay okay. Good, and they did. We're going to go to Topeka. Now, we haven't seen it here, and hopefully we don't anytime soon, but if you have to drive more than a day, it does warn you that, hey, you need to start driving now if you want to get there. It will tell you that a day or two ahead of time, if necessary. You can be delayed, and that can cause serious problems. That is something to keep in mind. You can run into problems where you literally end up missing a gig because it took you too long to drive there. The automatic disease. Sounds like a dystopian movie, doesn't it? All right, let's see what we got. Well, we're only playing 6 songs. That's good. I've started doing this. I start searching right away and checking to see if there's any negatives. And if there are, I come back and I'll check it again later. But I've found that I often forget to do it at all if I don't do it up front. And then I want to play new songs first where I can. So far, so good. It's always good when your blue song early on is decent. I don't think any of these, so I'll use the smiley face to mean that it's a hit or a potential hit. That's not the case for these. I know right now these just tend to be songs that are doing better for us than others because we just still aren't terribly good. There we go. That's our 6 songs. Let's see what happens. And then I'll double check by clicking here and checking the bottom. Now I did discover something. You can have like low energy songs or high energy songs being popular at any particular time. Well, most of your songs are going to be high energy songs. And then they also have the other attitude, which can be coming of age. If high energy songs are popular, but coming of age or whatever, carefree, if carefree is low, this will not show up down here as red. It'll still show up as yellow because it balances out. But you do want to pay attention to that because my sense is it probably doesn't score you as well as it could otherwise. Here we go. And we've been aiming for about 50 right now, and it looks like we're not going to quite get there. But somebody leveled up, and that's going to be really, really helpful. We won. Awesome. Okay, we'll take the win. We'll definitely take the money. That's certainly helpful. We're selling t-shirts. That's good. We sold 1 copy of our single. Half a point of popularity. That always happens with battles of the band when you win them, so that's good. And as we can see, Who is Jessica is the favorite out of all of these. And that's a brand new song, so that's good. That's good information. I want to hang on to that one. Now, I hold on to songs that aren't necessarily good so that we have time to adjust when we come to a month end. You want to have enough songs that regardless of where you're playing, you don't have negatives and poor attitude songs that, end up disrupting your output. So we're going to bump him up double here. And I think we'll do point of stage presence, point of playing, 2 points of playing. We're still wanting to chase down playing. Playing is very important. So we'll kind of prioritize that as we continue forward. And we are going to go ahead and just drive home today. That'll be an overnight trip. Let's go over the recording contract offers we've received. All offers expire soon, so don't delay. Outstanding. Well, we can do that just through the manager button, but if you notice, I think it said to come into the office so that we could talk about it. I think his office is up here. We'll go ahead and go to his office because that can be fun. And I also wanted to go by that print shop and see what we have. Since we have a potential album coming out, there's a couple of housekeeping things we'll have to do. Where did it go? There it is. So we're going to go to Aiden's printing here. Okay, and t-shirts. We can see what our t-shirts are by going here. We have 2. Liking those. And so we can design another t-shirt if we want. What I tend to do is I'll have a t-shirt for an album, and then I will have a CD cover for the album and a gig banner for the tour associated with the album. And they'll all be effectively related. So I kind of like that Eclipse t-shirt. We could just use that and call the first album Eclipse, however you want to say it. And a way to do that would be go to the CD designer and copy a design. I'm not going to save the current one. We're going to do the Eclipse shirt design. Oh, that's not too bad. Dial that down and put it up here. And we'd want to give it a name. I don't know what to call it. We could call it Eclipse, I guess. Solar Eclipse. Total Eclipse of... No, we're not going to name it after a heart song. Eclipse Extravaganza. No, that doesn't make sense. I like paradoxes for names a lot, but I'm not thinking of any right now. We'll just call it Eclipses. That'll work. Rhymes with ellipses. Okay, and then I think I do want to maybe play with the font a little. Find something fun. We'll make it a little smaller. That could be fun. I also I tend to like that color for these kinds of things. Oh, that reminds me of like sci-fi movies. I think we're going to go with that. We're going to buy that. We don't even have the contract yet, and we've already got the album cover made. I bet I am not the first person in a band to ever do that. There we go. Then we can make a banner from it. We don't want to save the current one, and we will pull it from the CD cover. But Andy is kind of weird. We're going to want to one line that, pull it down. That works. I rather like that, actually. We could maybe, can we move the photo up? Yeah, I like that. I'm not terribly graphically inclined, so good enough is good enough for me. We're going to go with it. We now have a new banner we can use. This will be Eclipse's banner. Excellent. All right, so we have the t-shirt and the banner and the CD cover. Now we should go see about the actual deal, right? Okay, and there's Kelvin's office. Again, we could have just done it from home, but I thought this would be fun. So we come up here at the top, we have this review contract offers. That's where we'll go look. And it looks like he has exactly one offer for us. A lot of times there'll be multiples and you'll have next and previous buttons down here. We've only got one offer and we're not very good, so this is pretty typical. Whoa, they want 2 full-length CD releases. Yeah, we're not going to take this one. This is not a good deal for us. So there's a couple of rules about CDs. You can only, on contract, you can only release 1 CD a year. So if you release a CD, you're not going to sign another contract for another year. This one would be 2 years, and it's not terribly good terms. As you can see, they're going to advance us $6,600 to record, and they'll spend $4,400 on marketing. That is not a whole lot, actually. And then they'll have to recoup their $11,000 before we see a penny, is what it really comes down to. And then, of course, that's per album, so that doubles. It'll be $22,000 total. And then after they've collected their money, we get 26%, which that isn't too bad. I've seen it very low. I've seen it a little better than that. But the 2... that one, I'm not going to do this. I don't like having to be locked in for 2 albums, particularly when we're not very good. Now, the other specifics here are when you have to release the first one by, then it has to include at least 2 songs of 40 quality. Well, we're fine there. And minimum recording quality has to be 20. Well, that's next to nothing. So you can sign a contract right out of the gate if you have a manager and you have songs to do it, because these aren't hard numbers to meet. But those aren't great numbers for us to be aiming for in a year. We're going to want something better. So we are going to pass on this. And that's going to mean that his attitude with us is going to suffer a little bit from that. We'll see that this number falls off a little. I am going to say ignore calls from bands, by the way. This means we won't get those calls where it's like, hey, we're playing here. Do you want to come join us? Because those will become kind of invasive at some point. You'll be getting them constantly. So we're going to pass on that. We're going to click here and we're going to go home and do some songwriting and practice and stuff. And I think we will continue this in our next episode. I want to thank you for your time this time. And until next, fair travels.